Aloha, y'all. It is Sunday, the 22nd of November. Today is a white self existing mirror guided by timelessness. It is a Sahasrara or crown chakra day. So, look at all those infinite ohms going in and out. Be tapping into, if you're going to do chakra chants, crown chakra, do all those chakras. I did them last night, it was very helpful. Um, but Sahasrara, the crown chakra, at one mint, atonement at one mint with everything that is. So that's what to focus on. Let's go ahead and it's a Sunday ruled by the sun. Sunday, help, that's the name. The sun is in Sagittarius. We're in Sag season now officially. Yesterday when I did this, it was like right the last few minutes of Scorpio season. Now we're in Sag season full on. Sun in Sag, Moon in Pisces, Mercury in Scorpio, Venus in Scorpio, Mars in Aries. Let's go ahead and pull a card for today, this Sunday, and see what we got going. What's going on? What's going on? We got the Queen of Swords. Very interesting card. Definitely feeling it, actually. Myself. Just going through a lot of intellectual, hopefully wisdom, intellectual kind of things and dealing with it. But the swords of the mind, so we're probably resetting our minds and changing our thinking, birthing into new thoughts, having epiphanies, knowing how to be wise, not just knowledgeable, that kind of energy. So swords, if you're a Gemini, a Libra, or an Aquarius, naturally you're going to be a sword. And the queen is the watery part, the emotional, intellectual, or intuitive rather, and receptive mode of the mind of air, of intellection. So this is about using the power of nature to enhance your lifestyle. A brilliant mind, penetrating intelligence, serving a noble cause, well articulated and outspoken, a wise guide. Queen of Swords, I serve a noble cause. On page 88. In mythology, the Queen of Swords was often rather simplistically conceived of as an ice queen. This highly intelligent, forthright, and principled woman is tied to performing her duties and obligations as a monarch. She is not afraid for heads to roll when she needs to protect her own, or her kingdom's interests. But the dark tears symbolize the sadness she bears as a consequence, for she is no lover of execution and death. To live in integrity, she would far rather build alliances with her adversaries than use brute force. She is dressed here in a Starman samurai kimono. It represents her self-discipline, courage, independence, honor, and willingness to serve her kingdom no matter what. As head of state, she offers excellent counsel and constructive criticism with a piercing intelligence and a well-earned wisdom. Here, she handles sacred medicinal plants which have co-evolved with human beings for millennia. We use them for healing and guidance as part of spiritual practices. We eat plants, drink their juices, ferment and distill libations from them. We consume them in 1,000 forms. While some are toxic, like the berries of nightshade, holly, and dogwood, many have proved extraordinarily valuable. Evidence of the use of herbal remedies, for example, goes back 60,000 years to a burial site in Iraq. Today, the majority of the world's population, an estimated 5 billion people, use folk medicine for both acute and chronic health conditions. I just got Shilajit for the first time. I'm going to be trying that a little. There's a good, I take a lot of things: flaxseed oil, spirulina, chlorella, CBD, echinacea, all sorts of things, turmeric. But anyway, we've been using these plants to help our reality, and there's a wisdom to that, knowing your surroundings and using it to your advantage. The queen's medicinal journeying enables her to cleanse herself of toxic thoughts and experiences, a form of spiritual cleansing to restore the mind-body connection, head with heart. Self-sufficient and perhaps a perfectionist, she is phenomenally capable, knowledgeable, and engaging, with a brilliant intellect able to penetrate into the source of a problem, whether the domain is personal, political, or corporate. Her keen intelligence quickly strips away what's not important, accurately reflecting the facts and uncovering priorities and values. In the process, she uses her own experiences to help illustrate and unmask self-defeating patterns, understanding deeply on all levels the importance of a stitch in time to save nine. So it's like if you do it properly, you're not going to need to do it a bunch. Do it right the one time, and you don't have to do it 9 times to edit, undo, and rectify and all this stuff. She applies this rigorous effectiveness with her own children, regarding it as her maternal duty to see her children to grow up to be well-rounded, cultured, and highly educated, ethical adults. Not always the warmest of mothers due to the heavy burdens of duty, she does bring compassion and a deep understanding of the vicissitudes and trials of life. The Queen of Swords is deeply committed to them, contributing to their gifts and talents effectively and making a difference in the world. So the Queen of Swords, the watery, feminine, emotional, kind of intuitive part of air, the mind. This is about using the power of nature to enhance your lifestyle. That's what I was talking about, like remedies and herbal, supplements and all that stuff. A brilliant mind, penetrating intelligence, serving a noble cause, well articulated and outspoken, and a wise guide. With the sun in Sagittarius and the moon in Pisces, we need all the wisdom we can get. Sagittarius can get very passionate and see the truth, and with a moon in Pisces, we might be very, what's the word? Idealistic about truth, but ultimately we have to be discerning and use our environment and our own bodies and minds to the highest degree ethically. Not just be passionate for something and do it because we love it. Do what we love well, not just like impulsively all the time, right? So let's go ahead and get some clarification. Hopefully y'all are doing well. I'd love to see where you're watching from, so be sure to type in any little tidbit of data that you would like, where you're watching from, or what's your astrology big three, or what tarot card you resonate most with in life, etc. I'm always curious. Double Gemini life. So what we've got today is the one of water. So I do think with the moon in Pisces and Sagittarius sun, we're able to, and with Mercury and Scorpio, we're able to see very deeply into our own nature, and probably come to new emotional places with that. Where knowledge becomes wisdom, right? So, here we go. Ace of Water. New emotions, first love, infatuation, attraction, lust, longing, excitement, and passion. Those are the attributes very much of a sun and Sag and moon and Pisces. It's like love and passion and romance and idealism. This is about an exciting beginning, taking a leap of faith, opening your heart, following passion's lead, a new experience or opportunity, a new friendship. Stop fighting your feelings, and free of fear's influence. Not to be afraid, to be coming from a place of wisdom and heart. The Ace of Water symbolizes the beginning of a new love and those feelings of a nervous excitement we experience at the start of a new relationship. It is that growing sense of attraction and infatuation that draws you in and dares you to throw common sense aside. Falling in love is both paradoxically thrilling and terrifying as a flood of emotions picks you up and carries you away. The river could carry you gently or lead you to rapids or worse, fling you over a waterfall. Regardless of where this new beginning may lead, now is time to open your heart to another or to a new experience or opportunity. Remember that the Ace of Water does not necessarily symbolize romantic relationships. You are being asked to allow your desire, passion, or attraction to carry you along in its flow and trust that it will take you to where you need to be, right? Trusting the different things you're attracted to in life, the loves, the passions, like what do you do? But do it wisely. If you like having a good time, don't just only have a good time and only be on vacation mode. Be willing to follow your highest excitement with discernment, with ethic, with an ethical mind and a code of honor, if you want to put it that way, right? Doing what's best for not just yourself, but simultaneously not just denying what brings you pleasure or brings you joy. Doing it in a balanced and moderate way. That's just the bottom line. That's going to look different to everybody. Hit me up for readings if you ever want to know your chart or to get some cards to understand the situation. I can help guide you that way. But one ultimately has to make the choices themselves. The Queen of Swords, like the buck stops at her, and then we're making there's certain things that are going to be in your programming that bring you joy and bring you pleasure and bring you inspiration that might not be for everybody else, and that's okay. So you have to kind of figure out what you're all about and not feed into them the passions too much. Belief systems 53 is what we're getting. This is an Earth timeline. Belief systems, and beliefs are largely what create our what we believe emotionally to be true, but also what we believe with our minds to be true in terms of that discernment are what this is going to be about largely. So 53 Earth belief systems present timeline. There's a human tendency to cling to belief systems and rationalize them as facts without realizing they are illusions. Pisces moon, are we dealing with emotional illusions? Are we being drawn into fantasies? Fantasy is what makes the story go, but are we still typing out sentences and spelling them correctly, right? In fact, any construct of our minds, beliefs, thoughts, emotions is an illusion and not representative of our true nature as aware consciousness beyond the human experience. This is seen as a unique human trait, one that obstructs our growth at every turn. Take a look at your belief systems and your view of the world. See them as constructs of ego rather than universal truths. Only one truth exists, that you are pure consciousness. Everything else is an illusion. Belief systems are complex maps that we build within us to help us navigate our inner and outer worlds and create our view of reality. They are often formed unconsciously from early life experiences or past lives. They keep us feeling safe, but they also stop us from growing. On Earth, at this point in time, there is a high degree of attachment to our belief systems, and this is keeping us in opposition to each other, as seen in religious, political, and social conflicts. Personally, our belief systems keep us stuck. They stop us from losing ourselves, from growing, from healing, and from moving towards unity consciousness. Sometimes what we think can get in the way of where we should be flowing in terms of the healing and nature of reality. In this time of tremendous growth on Earth, it becomes essential to look within and identify these belief systems, including those about ourselves and those about the world around us. If this card comes up in your reading, you're being asked to look at the belief systems of those around you and how you are affected, as well as how your own belief systems keep you stuck and possibly hurt those in your life. This quest is not a pleasant one, but it is an essential one for all those who are seeking to awaken their consciousness. Taking a look at the surrounding cards to see if there are clues to which belief systems need exploring. If not, go on a treasure hunt deep inside yourself. What will you find? What you will find can greatly serve you in your growth if you apply the lessons, right? So we're being asked to learn in a fresh way, right? Learn, be discerning, go deep within, use your head in a deep way. What's bringing you emotional satisfaction? Why do you believe that? What's hurting you? Your feelings? Why do you believe that? What belief systems are we attached to? Right, belief systems. What are we attached to with our egos, our minds potentially, in such a way that we're not letting the water of life to flow more fluidly, more available to its own nature. Like, just be water, my friend. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. If you believe you're always right, that's going to be a weird trip. If you believe you're always wrong, that's going to be a weird trip. Our belief systems create and color the reality itself. So we have to be aware of that dynamic going on. Groundedness, number 7, armadillo. On a Sunday, there's the sun, right? So this is about even getting embodied mentally, making sure that we don't just get taken for a ride by our passions, but also identifying these passions as leaks of the soul coming through our bodies and hearts. It's like what excites you, you're attracted to for a reason, but make sure you're doing it in an ethical and responsible way. Make sure your belief systems are in alignment with both your head and your heart, your spirit ultimately. And to get to the stars, you need to stand in a firm place. You can't just launch from nothing, right? So 7, groundedness, armadillo. Without grounding ourselves, we can become disconnected and flighty. Pisces moon, Sagittarius sun. We can go on a crusade of passion or a love journey. We could journey across half the way across the world for the opportunity of love or whatever. Sell all your goods and go become a monk. We can become very passionate, but without being grounded, without having one step in front of the other and just practically breathing through that process, it could be problematic. It can be very disconnected and flighty. Pisces moon. So it is an important aspect to develop. Go to the basics first. Ace of emotions, right? And use your discernment, Queen of Swords. Go to the beginning of things. Plug into the power of the earth. Avoid drama in situations. Sometimes we need to look, and that's why are we bringing drama largely is because of our belief systems. If you say, I'm right and you're wrong, and you hold on to that belief too strongly, you're going to create drama. It's like being flexible here, but grounded in your flexibility is really necessary. Avoid drama in situations. Sometimes we need to look at the flowers at our feet before looking at the stars. Humility is a positive trait. False humility is not. Mythos. The god walks slowly but surely upon the earth. He is of high age and leans a little on his walking stick, but moves smoothly. His shoes are heavy and they feel the earth with every step. This grandfather, M-A-M, mom, is wise and eternal, and wisdom, Queen of Swords, right? Getting that energy. But make no mistake, age does not mean weakness, for he is powerful. He wears a hat of the bird of night, for he walks from the underworld. Mercury and Scorpio. He knows some magic, right? He has the ears of a jaguar, for he is one who powerfully walks through the darkest of nights. He wears the cape of an armadillo shell, for he is protected and grounded and carries all he needs with him. A man of magic, he smokes the herbs of vision, yet he can weave the worlds together while being sure upon his feet. So he might smoke some psychedelic potion or what, the herbs of vision, whatever that means. But at the same time, he's like embodied and practical. He can still weave worlds together while being sure upon his feet. He's one step in front of the other. This, according to the classification of codical gods, is one of the major pre-Spanish Mayan deities, God El, like the capital letter L. God El is featured in many Mayan artworks, but specifically the most famous has him walking around the door of the sanctuary at Palenque. The Mayans put special consideration into the depiction of their gods, with every single piece of clothing signifying the character and qualities of the deity. The armadillo, with its shell, indicated not only an animal of the ground, but the protection of a shield. Venus and Scorpio can be like, I shield myself out of love. I protect myself. The armadillo with its shell not only is an animal of the ground, but the protection of a shield. It is thought then that the god El is related to war, his Mars and Aries. His special shoes and walking stick indicate a trader and someone who has to move over distances in a safe and steady way. God El may have had a role in the building of prosperity through trade. Armadillos also feature in the mythos of Aztecs, who called them turtle rabbits, and in some of the First Nation stories of the people of the southern United States. The animal. Armadillos are distinctive animals because of their leathery armored shell, an incredible adaptation that has enabled them to hold on through a lengthy evolution. The armor is actually overlapping plates of bone covered with horn called scutes. The scutes are rigid, particularly over the front half of the animal, and typically become more flexible over the back legs and tail. The underneath of the animal is furry and unarmored. Contrary to popular belief, only a few armadillo species actually roll up in a ball if threatened by a predator. Most will attempt to run and find some thick ground, plant, or stone cover where they will be very hard to get at. Armadillos get their food from the earth, and so their claws are perfectly adapted to effective digging. Grubs, ants, termites are favored. They also use the claws to dig their dens and burrows, where they spend their time while not looking for food. Babies are born in the dens, which helps them thermoregulate as their body's temperatures are low. There are 21 species of armadillo. The largest is the giant armadillo, 1.5 meters long and 54 kilograms in weight. The smallest armadillo is only 13 to 15 centimeters. The magic. Armadillo magic is profoundly earth-based and grounded, which is what we really need with the Sagittarius sun and the moon in Pisces, with a Venus in Scorpio, with a Mercury in Scorpio. It's very kind of big, profound, high. I mean, it's like these are all the last stage. Like you go, the first school you could say is Aries through Cancer. Second school is Leo through Scorpio, and it's that end of Scorpio. We're going into the highest degrees: Pisces, Sagittarius, Scorpio. These are high levels of things. We need to be grounded while we do this stuff. This magic. It's high magic, though. Armadillo magic is profoundly earth-based and grounded. It is ancient and profound. It can be used when you are feeling off-kilter and unsure. If you aren't clear on what to do next, or you have had a trauma or a shock, use armadillo magic to bring you stability and power. Symbology is the old man with a cape of armadillo, shield, armor, claws, and the earth. Status: some species are listed as vulnerable. Most are threatened, so we can do a little better. I know I've seen roadkill armadillos, in various places like Texas more, I think. But we have the ability to be grounded in our minds, to be discerning. You could dream big, but use wisdom, the owl. You could start things, you could follow passions, and that's what the whole point is, to follow your excitement, but do it in such a way that's moderate and middle path. May your belief systems be open, but not so open that anything goes, and not so rigid that you're not adaptive, right? We want to be grounded and firm in our beliefs, but we also want to be flowy and open and willing to try new things with our minds and hearts. Let's go ahead and get an art oracle card and see what wants to pop. We've got A Weiwei. It's Chinese. I believe in Japanese the word for Chinese is Chugoku. So, A Weiwei. Pretty modern. All right, so despite big trouble with authorities, A Weiwei continues to work from Beijing, where his hobbies include political deviance and being interrogated. With deep roots in activism, A's conceptual work taps into art history, world events, and occasional bouts of dark humor to address contemporary concerns about Chinese society. For his work Fairy Tale, which is very Pisces moon, right? Fairy tale. He flew 1,001 Chinese citizens to Germany's famous quinquennial Documenta art exhibition. For dropping a Han Dynasty urn, he did good on the title's promise, an apparent protest against cultural oppression. However, when a Florida man staged an homage protest of his own, purposely dropping and shattering one of A's vases on display at Miami Museum, A was not flattered and offered the man no tips on resisting arrest. So the advice we're getting from A: when authority says to be quiet, get a loudspeaker. Right? So we need to come to our own truths, but we need to be doing it in a grounded way. You know? If someone says jump, you don't just always ask how high. Sometimes be like, why am I jumping? What's their motive? Right? Is this something that I believe in? Is this something that I can be a part of? Right? When something authority, God, government, people in your lives, whatever, your ego, when different authorities, things you give power to, demand stuff of you, you need to be both willing, one of water, to engage those things, but also have firm enough beliefs and morals, and loose enough, simultaneously, paradoxically, beliefs and frameworks to be able to discern what to do, coming from a grounded place, right? When authority says to be quiet, get a loudspeaker. If you're being told to shut up, maybe there's a time for that, but your inner knowing is going to know, right? And what you believe, like if you think that everything's out to get you and you're on your own and you have to fight the world, that's a very different belief system than, oh, everything's going perfectly well and nothing's out of whack. And it's probably somewhere in the middle, right? We need to be stepping into a power of emotionality with the Pisces moon. We can dream with Sagittarius sun. We can expand our consciousness, but when we're expanding, our beliefs, our perspectives, Queen of Swords, our emotions, when they're expanding, we have to be grounded while we do it. You can't just go conquer space if you don't have, supplies, right? To go on a long hike or whatever, you need water and food. It's like you could do exploration, but you need to be grounded simultaneously and embodied. So when authority says to be quiet, get a loudspeaker. That's what A is saying. I think we need to challenge. She's going to challenge from an emotionally satiated place, like the watery, the intuitive part of emotions. Like if someone says, thou shalt not do what, X, Y, Z, she's going to look into why that's the law and follow her feelings on it and say, is this true? Does this meet what my belief system expects of this? Why, if I believe this, why would I believe this? If I don't believe this, why would I not believe this, right? Coming from a grounded, centered place, you can actually challenge models. You can challenge perceptions of yourself and others. Which is a good thing, to challenge comfort zones. But at the same time, you don't want to never have a comfort zone. You want to have a structure, a core from which your a monad from which your mandala is sprouting. So we've got Cavensite. Pretty cool looking stone here. So what has Cavensite got to tell us today? What it is, Cavensite is a calcium vanadium silicate. Its name is an acronym. Look for it, it's in there, Cavensite, which is, calcium, vanadium, van, and silicate, site. Its name is an acronym. There it is. Look for it. Its vivid color is next level electric blue. The best Cavensite hails from India. It's a go-to stone for those looking to channel messages from on high or explore the possibilities of supernatural communication. It's a crown, chakra, day, Sahasrara. This is our connection to the divine. So when you want to be tapping into that level of communication, that awareness through the Queen of Swords, the discernment to see where the fluid flow of the universe, one of Ace of Water, is taking you, Cavensite. It's like, yes, magical mystery tour, but like make sure your hands and feet are inside the ride at all times. Who needs it? Storytellers, soothsayers, healers, therapists, and psychics. Where to put it? Wherever you translate inspiration into the written or spoken word. Guys, that is the crown chakra. Taking inspiration and look, it's translating into the Om symbol. The one and the all in the one, that's manifest through symbol and form, logic, all that stuff. So whenever you translate inspiration, the spirit, Pisces moon, whenever you're channeling, how do you take that and make it a truth that's written and understood for yourself and others for future times? That is the Sagittarius, Sun, and Mercury and Scorpio. How do you make this powerful, transformative truth known to others? When to use it? When it's time to speak clearly and straight from the heart. I've been doing that all day, Haley knows, and we are inspired to do that always. The less obstruction and less resistance we come into contact with egos, that's the whole point. The more discerning we can be, right? The more bullshit we can cut away with the sword of truth. The higher we can get over a situation with the flight of the owl of wisdom, the more flow we'll have in our emotional reality, the more magic will occur. And that's a belief, I know. A belief system is like where if you aren't obstructed, you'll have more flow. That may or may not be true. That's my belief. But your belief systems are literally the operating systems through which the water is flowing. Are you damming things up unnecessarily? Do you, have like 7, I'm thinking of like locks, like in Venice and Amsterdam and stuff. It's like, are you having to go through 7 locks to get to one place, or can you do it in a shorter period? Being grounded and practical, really helpful right now because there's not a whole lot of that energy available to us. So we have to make it happen. Simultaneously, fighting the good fight. If you're gonna fight something, be bold about it, right? And this is about expanding your consciousness. When it's time to clearly speak clearly and straight from the heart. When you want to get weird, ask Cavansight to make you a conduit for messages, mysterious, internal. Expand your consciousness. Expand your consciousness. The one consciousness moving through you, an individual, right? Expand your consciousness wisely. Expand your consciousness through passion that's authentic to you and your nature. But don't delude yourself, although you're going to make mistakes. You see the paradox here, right? Be willing to play and dream. Don't just be, delusional. Be willing to express love. Don't, have boundaries. Your belief systems are going to create the parameters, like the cell bodies for all your cells. They give it definition. That's what's kind of creating like lines, limits. It's like, I believe this, I don't believe that, right? It almost looks like a cell body with like a nucleus and organelle and all this stuff. Check out your beliefs. Like, make sure they're coming from a centered, grounded place, and that they simultaneously they stay still, but they challenge the things outside themselves to know what the self and the other beliefs are, and the self and other things are. Right? She knows she's a queen because she knows she's not a bird. She's one with the bird, sure, but she's becoming illumined with that sphere of like awareness, that Sahasrara chakra, crown chakra, kind of lit, because she knows that she's flowing well with the reality. That's what she chooses to believe. She's coming from a grounded place, right? A logical, potentially like practical place, very Virgoan energy on the Queen of Swords. And it says, when authority says to be quiet, get a loudspeaker. Sometimes outside forces want you to do X, and you need to meet those outside forces with an expanded consciousness. If it's the right thing to do to be quiet, you'll know. And if it's the time to like shout against it, like this thing is very different than the thing around it. Ironically, that even looks like the belief systems circle, right? Oh, look, there's a circle with a dot. There's a circle with a dot. You'll know in an expanded state what grounded wisdom to bring to any kind of argumentation, conflict with yourself or others, etc. You see what I'm kind of saying? All right, let's go ahead and play some music and then get on our day, shall we? So we've got the Queen of Swords with Ace of Water as a clarifier. I think we're going to be having epiphanies that bring us to new emotional places. Maybe we were believing certain things, belief systems. We were believing certain things, and now that we don't believe those to be the case, we can work past them. And our belief systems, create our reality, so we got to be careful. All right, so I gotta restart this. It seems. what wisdom might be. Queen of Wand, or Queen of Swords. So, what we have is as follows. So we could soar really high. High as the owl is soaring, right? We can be wise, and we have to be coming from a place of heart. It's not mind or heart only, right? It's like seeing the truth, Sagittarius Sun, while also being open to dreaming and knowing that you don't know, Pisces Moon, right? Exploring deeply your belief system, Scorpio Mercury. We have the ability, Venus and Scorpio. It's like, where are your boundaries? Why do they exist, right? Ultimately, we need to be grounded in ourselves to know that boundaries can change. We will adapt like flow, like the ace of water over time, but at the same time, we have to have form to be. So it's a paradox. You have to maintain form while being like water, my friend, right? Both and have boundaries. When somebody, government, person, whatever, an authority, God, Bible, whatever says be quiet and shut up, get a loudspeaker. You need to be yourself, right? You need to be this individual, powerful self, but at the same time, you need to do it in a compassionate way for yourself and others. You need to do it in an inclusive way. You need to do it in a way that doesn't believe everybody else to be the bad guy and you're A-okay. You don't want to believe that you're the asshole and you can never do right and everybody else is just perfect. It's not like that. Ground into your center. Know that you can challenge things without destroying them. Challenging and expanding is part of becoming, right? And expanding our consciousness is what Cav Insight's asking us to do. So you can quantumly entangle with this. We are anyway. And you can focus on this and say, yes, I choose to expand my consciousness of what truth is. I expand my consciousness of what brings me joy and pleasure and hope. I expand my beliefs, know what they are defined as, and move forward from there in a grounded, practical way, an embodied way. A way that can confront opposition or things in a hierarchy or whatever authority in a way that's healthy, challenges the norms. Life wants to move, and it wants to expand, as does your consciousness. So expand your consciousness with Cav Insight and enjoy the fucking ride. We have a podcast today with Danielle Beaumere. Should be fun. Hit me up for readings if you'd like. I love giving them. People like getting them. 5 stars all the day long, so you know you get quality. And ultimately, enjoy your Sunday. Try to both ground and breathe and be the change you want to see, but open your head to like where you might have been blind to what you could become or what the potential you see in others. You want to give others as much grace as you give yourself. So if you're always saying, well, giving yourself excuses, extend that grace to other people. But if you're always beating yourself up, like maybe you're beating other people up too because of beliefs of expectations of perfection or whatever. So it's like, be shrewd, right? Be discerning, but be fluid and be kind and accepting simultaneously. And your belief systems, whatever those might be, are the way in which those are happening. So come from a grounded place and kind of know what your belief systems are in order to better the situation. Further up and further in, as Reaper Chief would say, have a beautiful Sunday.